Ernest Morris was my mentor. I love him to this day. 5 hours after I left that room, he died. I've never seen that many people at a funeral in my life. He actually did know everybody. Our church was full. The parking lot was full. There were speakers in the parking lot. There were speakers in all the classrooms, the cafeteria, everywhere. People couldn't even get in the church. He knew and stood for what is right. An amazing man. After I got out of high school, I got drafted by the Milwaukee Brewers, and through 6 years of misery, I had 6 surgeries, and I ended up quitting baseball at the age of 24. It didn't work for me. My dream was done. It was the only thing I ever focused on. I didn't care about grades. I wanted to be a baseball player. Well, I'm in Dr. Andrews' office in Birmingham, Alabama at 24. And he said, "Jimmy, we can fix you up again. We can do another surgery, but the choice is yours. We'll do whatever it is you want." And I said, "Doc, I think it's time for me to grow up. I need to grow up. It's time for me to go home and go back to school. I need to get an education. I need to figure out what dreams really are. I need to find somebody and get married. I need to start a family and have kids. I need to buy a dog." He said, "That is a fantastic plan. Start with a dog." So after I bought the dog, I went to college. Found out something very important about dreams. Dreams can change. Education became important to me. Education became easy. I loved school. I excelled at it. My high school counselor said, "You're too dumb to go to college." I was now on honors society, honors fraternities, honors graduate, chemistry and physics. Amazing. And as I got out of college, I thought, there's one thing I want to do. I want to teach kids that dreams are possible. I want them to know that whatever they want in their heart is achievable if they just give it. The only limits we have are the limits we put on ourselves. Everybody else may try to drag you down, but if you stop because of yourself. And so I started teaching high school and coaching baseball and football. Eventually I found myself at Reagan County High School in Big Lake, Texas. This place is out in the sticks. It's a town of 3,500 people. Oil and gas town. Kids do not even expect to graduate from high school. They said, "Coach, we don't even know why you took this job. People come through here on their way to somewhere better." The baseball team had won 1 game each year for the 3 years before I'd gotten there. We weren't very good. But I loved teaching in the classroom, and I loved working with these kids. We only had 8 kids show up for my first season of baseball. Now, I don't know how much you know about baseball, but you can't play a game, let alone a season, with 8 kids. So now that I taught physics and chemistry, I did what I thought I should. I offered A's in physics and chemistry to anybody come out from my baseball team. And we were so bad, I only had 2 takers. We played the first season with 10 kids. But you know what? We turned things around. We learned a whole lot about life, and not much of it had to do with baseball at all. We learned how to wear our uniforms right, take our jewelry off. We had learned to have respect for ourselves and our other teammates. We learned how to respect the umpires, the other team, anybody that came to watch us. We learned how to take care of our field. We learned discipline, and we learned respect. And we won 9 games that year. These kids were excited. Now, this is a small high school in West Texas. So when I had 10 kids, the football coach thought, they'll quit. The second season at Reagan County High School, I had 65 kids come out for my baseball team. I had more than the football coach had. That didn't make him happy. I didn't care because I didn't like him very much. But in small schools, every kid plays every sport that's an athlete, and I watch these kids lose a very important basketball game that would have sent them to the Final Four in the state of Texas. 2 days later, I get them on the baseball field, and for 2 weeks, we mope around the field. "Coach, we were that far from our dream. That's it, that far. We were going to a state championship. Now we're right back where we were. We're just losers. We don't understand why you even want to coach us." We played 2 games in those first 2 weeks, 15-1 and 15-0, and we didn't have 15. I didn't know what I was going to do. I sent the kids down the left field line after the second game, and I stood on home plate, and I thought, what can I tell these kids that's going to possibly change their mind about anything they have in their future? I want them to know that I have faith in them. I want them to know that I believe in their dreams. I want them to know that they can chase a dream. And immediately what came to my mind was the speech that my grandfather had given me in a hospital bed 20 years ago. And so I walked down that left field line and I started talking to my kids about hopes and dreams and overcoming obstacles and achieving things that nobody else thinks you can do. I said, make a ladder of success. Each time you reach one rung, add another one and another one. Nobody can box you in. Nobody can keep you down. You can achieve as far as you want to go, but it's got to be in your heart. I said, you guys have to go out and live life. You can't let life live you. Do not let somebody else decide what you're going to do with your life. You make your own decisions. If it's a dream, chase it. And don't look back. I got about halfway through this speech and I thought I sounded pretty good. My catcher looked at me. And he said, Coach, what about your dreams? I said, my dream is to watch you guys finish the season successfully, graduate from high school, and go to college. See what's out there, and then move on. He said, Coach, we think you still want to play baseball. And I said, I think I'm married. Thank you. I'm married. I have 3 kids. I have a job. I have responsibilities. I weigh 250 pounds, not baseball material. I said, scouts are looking for ball players. Scouts aren't looking for people that look like scouts. And we went on a little bit further, and my catcher looked at me again. Joel looked at me and he said, well, Coach, the way you teach us the game, the way you know what the other team's going to do before they do it, the way you throw us batting practice, we can't even hit the ball when you throw. And I said, that's because you can't hit. And he said, well, why are you telling us to chase our dreams if you're not willing to do it yourself? And I say, you're 18, you need to shut up. He said, what if we start winning? Will you try out again? I said, I can't do that. I got kids, I got responsibilities, I got you guys, I got bills, I got grown-up life. My dreams have changed. What if we win district? The school never won a district championship ever. If we win district, you try out again. So for 20 minutes, I argued with these kids about why I should never try out and step on a baseball field again. After 20 minutes, I did what every adult in America does. I caved in. You guys win a district championship, I'll find a tryout somewhere. In the back of my mind, I was going, you are so dumb right now. Your wife will kill you. A funny thing happened, though. These kids got excited. Their heads came up. They got smiles on their faces. They were happy. They were excited. They had a goal. They were going to make Coach go embarrass himself at a tryout. Any way you can teach, right? And I took the bet knowing that I would embarrass myself horribly because at 24, my doctor said, you will never ever pitch again. Impossible. I didn't care. It helped these kids. At the end of the season, we're playing for the district championship. We're down by 2 runs in the last inning. Now, if our kids ever got behind or if the score was ever close, the chances were we were not going to come back and win that game. These kids came back and they scored 3 runs in the last inning. They won the championship, and I watched them celebrate like they'd won the World Series. It was an amazing thing to watch. They're hugging each other. They're hugging the trophy. They're hugging their parents. They're taking pictures. I'm thinking, I'm a pretty good coach. And then I remembered, I got to go try out. Oh, no. Well, we finally get knocked out of the playoffs. School's over. I've got to find a tryout. I end up going to a tryout in my hometown of Brownwood, Texas, at Howard Payne University. I took my 3 kids there that day, 8, 4, and 1. My 1-year-old's still in diapers. And as I get there, I watch all these young kids get out of their cars to sign up for this tryout to go to the big leagues. Tall, thin, athletic, brand new bodies, smiling from ear to ear because they're chasing a dream. And behind them, I watch their parents. And their parents are smiling from ear to ear because they're watching their kids pursue a dream. And I noticed one thing about that. The parents were my age. What have I done? I get my kids out of the car, we go up to the sign-up table. Doug Gassaway is a scout for Tampa Bay. The kid in front of me signs up and walks off. Doug Gassaway looks up at me and said, how many kids did you bring to the tryout? 3. He said, no, 2 try out. And I said, well, let me explain something. I said, this is going to be quite embarrassing. But if you'll just let me pitch, I can go home and tell my kids that I did this. I lived up to my end of the bargain. I was honest, I had integrity, and I did this. So you get a good laugh out of it and just let me try it. When he got done laughing, he said, okay. He said, but you're going to throw last. All these kids are here for serious business, and you're here for the comedy hour. I said, thank you, and I walked off, and for 4.5 hours, the kids and I had a picnic. We got sunburned, I changed diapers, and we played games. After that amount of time, he calls me out to the mound, he hands me a baseball. And he said, how many pitches do you need to warm up? And I said, to embarrass myself, none. I just want to pitch and go home. He laughed at me, walked back behind the backstop, and he said, anytime you're ready. So I wind up and I throw a pitch, and it was a strike. And I was pretty happy. Thought, hey, that's a strike. And then I look up over the catcher's head, and there is Doug Gassaway, the scout, shaking his radar gun violently. I don't even throw hard enough to register on the radar gun. Why, this is embarrassing. 60 pitches later, I get done and I walk off the field. My 1-year-old's crying, it's time to go home. As I get to the car, Gassaway meets me at my car and he goes, I remember you. 20 years ago at Ranger Junior College, you were a tall, thin, left-handed kid who played football and everybody thought they could make a pitcher out of you. I said, that's right, that was me. He said, you threw like 85 or 86 back then. I said, yep, that's me. He said, I don't know what you've done in your time off, aside from eat. But you were throwing 98 miles an hour today. The first pitch you threw without warming up was 94. Everything else went up. And I sat there because as a man, I want to jump up and down right now. I threw 98. As a teacher and a coach, I thought, I've been throwing 98 mile an hour batting practice. I'm getting sued, that's what I'm getting. He said, look, you're old. And I said, thank you. He said, but you're left-handed, you throw 98. I got to call it in. They're going to think I'm crazy. He called it in. 2 days later, they want me to come back and try out again. So I go back and I throw in the pouring rain 2 days later with my 3 kids again. Raining so hard they had to have me a brand new baseball every pitch. Every pitch, 97. They said, we want you to come down to camp and get in shape and we want to see what happens. So I signed a minor league contract in 1999 to go back and play baseball. I took a pay cut from teaching to play minor league baseball. When you take a pay cut from teaching, you're not making any money. I went and got in shape for 3 weeks, lost 30 pounds, it felt pretty good. They sent me to AA. The first night I pitched, fantastic, 91, 92, I got a double play, I struck out a guy. The guys were like, hey, he's old, but he throws pretty hard. The second night, I threw 98 and 99, and I struck out 5 people in 2 innings. That's when the questions started. That's when they wanted to know everything about me. They're like, so you're married? And I said, yes. They're like, how many kids do you have? And I said, well, I have 3. And then this next statement made me realize the age difference between 19 and 35. A kid in the back, I didn't even know was listening, he looks at me and goes, so like after each kid, did you start throwing harder? Well, yes, I did. I went to AAA for 2 months, next to the best level of baseball in the world. Guys on their way up, guys on their way down, guys just trying to hold on to their dream. It was an amazing time for me. I wasn't making the decisions anymore, I was a decision. The manager put me in when he wanted me to pitch. I was a kid again, I was living that dream. And I was doing it because a group of kids saw something in me that I didn't think was there anymore. They had faith in me when I'd lost it in myself. I pushed them and they pushed back. And now I'm one phone call away from achieving a lifelong dream. Unbelievable. At the end of those 2 months, I get called up. In September of 1999, 3 months after grading physics and chemistry finals, I'm in the big leagues. The first place we play is at the ballpark in Arlington, where I live in Texas. I'd been gone for 3 months. I'd not seen my kids. I couldn't afford to bring them out. My son and I had done homework over the phone. But now I'm achieving my dream. The high school kids showed up at the game. Kids I coached against showed up at the game. My family showed up. Everybody was happy. People that said they knew me from high school showed up. I have no idea who they were. But I'm in my home state with my family and my friends and my high school kids watching me achieve a dream. When I pushed, they pushed back. And we each came out better on the other side. It's amazing what you can do if you just don't quit.